All right, guys, welcome to another live stream. Welcome to another live stream. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. All right, top prices for cryptocurrencies, taking profit. I think this is a very important topic, especially because I think we're in the kind of the second quarter of the crypto bull market, right? I think we're in the second quarter. And I kind of think the second quarter of the bull market will end probably January, end of January, probably beginning of February. Then we get into the third quarter, and then kind of that June to July area, and it may fade like go into the end of the year 2025. But I honestly think towards the end of 2025 is where you're going to start to see crashes. You're going to start to see black swan events that crash the crypto market and things like that. Potentially, like recession fears is probably going to be the main thing. I think once all the rate cuts, or maybe all the rate cuts, or we get down to that last rate cut that we're going to do, I think after that, that's when the market is going to start to tank. So you really need to start thinking about, okay, these are the cryptocurrencies that I have in my portfolio, and these are kind of the top prices. And when you think about top prices, you really need to be conservative with your predictions, because a lot of people think it's just going to keep going up. It's going to keep going up. And then they end up losing, or they end up just holding the bag and they don't end up selling at all, right? Or, maybe you are at the top and it starts to go down a little bit and you're like, oh, it's going to go back up to that price, and it just never ends up doing so. You really need to have a strategy. So in today's video, we're going to go over, probably 10 cryptocurrencies that I think are going to do well, and kind of look at what their top prices are, right? We're probably going to start with BTC because that's the most important cryptocurrency. And I think for everybody, if you're just getting into the crypto market, or crypto cycles and things like that, you should be looking at BTC as your indicator, right? That kind of BTC kind of leads the whole market. You could probably take a look at Ethereum too, but since it's an altcoin, it could go up a lot higher than BTC as far as when the altcoin season starts to move. But BTC is kind of like that indicator to say, okay, this is the top that I think BTC can go. And once it reaches that top, and typically altcoins reach their top before BTC reaches their top. So that's another thing to think about too. But you got to kind of think about where BTC is going to land and where it's at currently. So let me share my screen so we can look at some of these prices. Let me share my screen. All right, so the first cryptocurrency that we want to look at the top price is BTC. Now, we already know that BTC has hit 100K. That has been the mark that everybody has been waiting for. And, if we look at previous bull markets, I mean, we're kind of like in this phase right here, right? And then once it gets to the top, we do reach the top again, but I'm not sure if we get that. We may, if we get a huge crash, we're definitely going to get a bounce back. But do we go back to all-time highs? I'm not sure. It looks like it broke a little bit of all-time highs, and then it just got people out of the market and just crashed for the next 3 to 5 years. So, but yeah, so from this run, when BTC broke its all-time highs, 12/16/2017, so it looks like, what's the top here? So this was 19. So it broke 20 right at, a year later, essentially. And then to get to its all-time highs, or close to its all-time highs, it took about 4 months. So that's where we're at now, right? But we're kind of past that point. So honestly, I think this bull market, we'll probably start to see a top in March, right? And we're probably going to see altcoins explode soon, just because I just went to the gym. I have this like hand sanitizer next to my hand, so it's like going into my nose, it sucks. But yeah, so we're already past this point, right? That it broke its all-time highs, and I think it's not April that we see the top for BTC. It may be late March or middle of March, right? So altcoins for me are going to explode this month, January and February, essentially. So you really need to keep that time frame in mind. And this is just my guess, right? This is not like concrete. It is a different environment. As far as, we do have institutional investors. So a lot of people are saying, oh, it's not going to go down that much. But people were saying that last bull cycle. People were saying, oh, BTC is going to go to 100K. It's going to go past that. They said that last cycle, right? So you got to really take that into consideration that people, when the bull market gets started, people just on Twitter and X just start to come out with these crazy predictions. And they're like, oh, BTC 200, 250,000, which I think it's going to get there eventually. But is it going to get there this cycle? I probably wouldn't bet on that, right? Because, again, this is the first cycle where we do have a change. Now, is it going to change the pattern of what BTC does? I'm not sure, right? Because people, that might change the fact that we have institutional investors, but people don't change, right? And people is kind of what moves the market. Like the behavior of people is kind of what shapes the chart. And that's what we kind of see, you know, typically in the stock market, typically in the crypto market, and historically after the halvening, a year after the halvening, we see the top of the crypto market. And the halvening this year was in April, so most likely we'll see somewhat of a top in April of this year. But we saw a top April last time, right? So, and usually it's like a month before that. So that's why I'm saying March. So if that's the case, we're probably going to see altcoins explode very soon. And who knows? Does this last? Does this last for more than 2025? I don't believe so. If anything, it lasts till the end of 2025. But I even think that's a stretch, right? I think going into July, October, like July through October, that's probably when people are going to start, the things you're going to start to see things crashing. You got to remember, people have been talking about a recession, a recession, a recession. And I think the last inflation report, inflation was on the way up, right? So I don't know. I don't think they have this thing tamed. I think, they just went along with the narrative like, oh, we're going to cut interest rates because we've been hiking them up too much and it's just too much for people. But I don't think they have this inflation thing under control. And I think we go into a recession towards the end of 2025. But I don't think the bull market will continue until then, right? So, and I'm not saying you need to sell right away, but you need to keep all these things in perspective, right? So if we look at the chart, and we'll just go by history, right? We're not going to go by what we think. We're just going to go by history. All right, so if BTC, it's going to be hard to, let me do this. I'm going to ask ChatGPT. I'm going to say, give me the top prices. Give me the top prices of BTC Give me the top prices of BTC for all the bull markets, for all the crypto bull markets from 2010 through 2021 or 2022 or 2021. Give me the top prices of BTC from 2010 to 2021. All right, and then we're just going to go off like the facts, right? All right. So in 2010, bull market, 39 cents. 2011, $31. 2013, 26. 2017. So this is kind of when it starts. So we'll start from 2013 to 2017, right? So 2013 to 2017. So 2013, the top was $266. And then the second wave, okay, no. So it was the top was $1,156, right? And that ended in 2013, December 2013. 2017, the top price was 19,700, right? So we went from a 20x to a 3x essentially, like three and a half. Let's just say that. So from 2013, it was at 1,100. So 4 years later, the next bull market, 2017, it was at 20,000. So that's a 20x. And then 2021 bull market, it went to 69,000, which was a 3x. So it looks like, it went from a 20x to a 3.5x. I think, it's cutting in half, right? That now, again, those bull market cycles, we didn't have institutional investors buying like crazy. So you do have to keep that into account, right? But if you take the logical approach and the conservative approach, you say, okay, well, it looks like every time it's just cutting in half. So, 3.5, 1.5 would be kind of like a double and some change. So 69,000 times 2, that is what, 138,000 plus half more. So probably like that 150 to 160. So I think we could see Bitcoin at 150 to 160. Now, if we account for that, institutional investors are, they're now buying. They have to buy spot ETFs, and everybody's buying. I mean, spot. They have to buy BTC to support their spot ETF. Then we have to account for. If we account for that, I think we could see a 200 to 250, right? But that's pushing it, right? Because at that point, people are going to start taking profit, right? And we're going to see a market correction. And again, you got to think about it. Even though corporations are buying spot ETF, you have to have retail buy these spot ETFs for it to have demand. Now, if they just keep buying Bitcoin on the back end and not needing people to actually buy the ETF, that's another thing, which I'm pretty sure they're going to do. But I think it's going to slow down going in the middle of 2025. So, but conservatively, I think March and beginning of April is probably a good time to start taking profit, right? And a good realistic target for BTC this cycle is 130 to 150, right? Now on the bullish end, we may see 200. I don't think we go past that. We could if things get really bullish, but max 250. So 200 to 250 on the bullish case, 130 to 150, I think we hit for sure, right? And that's just taking the other crypto halving cycles into consideration. And we did a 3.5 last time. I think we do like 1.5 this time, 1.5 the price, which would put it around 130 to 150, right? So that's where I think Bitcoin will end up, 130 to 150. Let's see. All right, Ethereum. Right now, Ethereum's an altcoin, but again, and you also got to look at market cap as well. That's one thing you have to look at as well. But I think 130 to 150 will put BTC at a reasonable market cap. I think it's like at what, 2 trillion now? Yeah, close to 2 trillion. I think it could possibly, on the most bullish case, get to 4 trillion. But most likely probably stop at around 2.5 trillion. But Ethereum, the max I see for Ethereum, to be honest, is $1 trillion market cap this cycle. And that's when, institutions start buying Ethereum. So, or maybe, yeah, a trillion. So it'll probably put it around 10K. Once it hits 10K, that's pretty much it. But again, I would do a 20 to 30% cut on that price and probably start thinking about taking profit around 7,000, 6,500 to 7,000. Right? Maybe you take a partial, like 50% off the table and then hold on for a little bit to see how prices move. But I see Ethereum going to, anywhere from 8 to 10,000 this cycle. If it breaks 10, it'll probably break it for a little bit, but then come crashing back down. And the reason being is because Solana, it's taken a good share of the good portion of the market share. I think Solana will be, 400 trillion. So put it around 1,000 again for Solana. That would be, it'll touch 1,000 and then come down crashing. I don't think it goes past that. A lot of people are talking about, 2,000. I don't think Solana will get to 2,000, right? It's already at 115 billion. That's a lot of liquidity. Always look at the market cap. And to be honest, even 400 billion seems like a lot. For me, I think it probably gets to like $800, which would put it like in that 3 to 350 billion dollar market cap. That's my opinion for Solana. I'm sticking with that. I honestly think XRP, I mean, yeah, it's boasted up, but for me, it's just a meme coin. And looking at the chart, it just crashes, right? It spikes, crashes, spikes, crashes. So I think $3 is the most for this one. Maybe it goes a little bit more, but I think that one's coming close to the end. Avalanche is a nice one too. I think Avalanche has some room to run. It ran from 11. It was literally like $11 billion or 14 billion the other day, and it got 7 billion out of nowhere. So I think Solana reaches its all-time highs if the gaming narrative takes off, which I think it will. I think people will come in and start talking about games again. I think Avalanche it's a really good project. They have really good people. Like a lot of the devs are from like Cornell, or the person that created it is from Cornell. So I think Avalanche will get to $100 billion market cap, which would put it, passing its all-time highs of like that 125 to 130 area. But again, that puts it at 120 billion market cap. And which is fine. I honestly think if the gaming narrative takes off the way I think it's going to take off, I can actually see Avalanche at 150 to 200 billion towards the end of this market cycle. But to me, to be honest, I remember when this thing was trading at like $9, and I knew this thing was going to come back, right? Just being a part of the Avalanche YouTube channel and seeing all the stuff they were doing. And then like knowing that the devs are from like Cornell and they just have a huge community, and they're always rolling out stuff. I knew when it was at $9 that it would be, literally a 10x from there. But it wasn't one that I was focusing on because I knew AI was going to be the biggest. So I kind of focused more on the AI plays this cycle. So Avalanche for me, let's see. Oops, sorry. Give me a sec. I gotta pull up my box just in case I'm getting some comments here. All right, cool. Give me a sec. All right, let me share my screen again. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to pull my comment box to the side just in case I start getting comments. Okay, so yeah, I knew when Avalanche was at $9, I knew it was going to be, I knew it was going to be 125. I honestly, I think it's going to hit that easy this cycle, and it's probably going to go past a little bit, maybe 150, 160 to 200. But the play for this was like when it was at $9, right? This was very obvious 10x play when it was at $9-10, and that it's a top cryptocurrency, right? Avalanche is, it's a really reputable cryptocurrency, and if it's able to provide a 10x, and it's one of the top cryptocurrencies, like it's in the top 10. Imagine what something that's, like an AI coin that's, number 80 or number 90 that's going to do really good. This 20, 30, 40, 50x. But again, you have to figure out what that is going to be. You have to make that decision. But Avalanche for me, if we look at the top price, I think like 150, this like 150 to 200, right? Easy, which would at this point would be like a 4 or 5x from here, right? But I think it's solid devs, and I think it's gonna do really well. Chainlink. So Chainlink recently, they're gonna do like this conference where they're gonna announce like some big partnerships soon. So that should be interesting. But I do honestly think Chainlink could get to 100 billion this cycle. I definitely think it could be a $400 play. Again, this one was easy too. When it was at $11 or $8, I knew this was going to be like a $50 to $100 play. But again, I think there's more gains in the AI sector. But if you're a person that's brand new to crypto, I would stick to things like Avalanche and Chainlink. I mean, they provide 3 to 4x's and in my opinion, relatively safe, right? Safe at this point of the cycle. Like if you don't have your AI picks and you don't have your conviction, I would not be trying to dabble into an AI coin that's number 80, number 90, because there is risk, but I think there is some certainty there. But at this point of the cycle, like I said at the beginning of this live stream, I think we're in the second quarter of the cycle, probably reaching that third quarter going into January. And then maybe, around April to June, the fourth quarter, and then July, August, we're probably going to start to see things turn around, right? That's when you're going to start to see, recession fears, and you're just going to start seeing news, right? Again, that's another thing too. I was saying it before in one of my other live streams that these coins are pumped up by whales. It's not like, like this coin is going to, change humanity. And it may have great technology, but either way, whether it has great technology or not, people decide when these things are going to pump. So it's not like these things are just pumping, just because of good technology. So you have to keep that in mind. And people create the narrative. Like people in the news create the narrative. So they want this thing to end 2025, which I think that is, because again, they're talking about recession fears. But the reason why I'm pointing to the back half of 2025 is because altcoins really haven't gone parabolic yet. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, if you're talking about a recession, I do believe it's going to come, but altcoins haven't went parabolic yet. We haven't seen Bitcoin at like 130, 150. Once that starts to happen, then that's when you're going to start to see like news headlines. Recession fears, this. And that's probably going to be around that, after April time frame. And then things are going to start to crash, right? Because that's kind of what happened. If we go to the BTC chart, it kind of tells the story too. I think here, when we go to, when BTC went all the way up, why did it crash? People had all this hype. Why did it crash? I think it was like the FTX debacle and all that stuff. So like FTX went down, and I don't know if it was Celsius too, but there's a lot of like exchanges just going down, a lot of fraud. All of a sudden, all of a sudden it happened, and it just matches up with previous cycles, right? After the halving, Bitcoin goes up. We start to see all these great things, and the prices of cryptocurrencies just go up. It's not a coincidence that these things happen at the same exact time, right? So in my opinion, I think these news outlets, they put these news articles out at the right time to create a certain narrative. And I think those news outlets are controlled by big whales, by people that have a lot of money, a lot of institutions and things like that. Maybe not institutions, but people with big money, right? So for me, if we look at it, we're already in the second quarter, right? Like, I mean, we're here. Like, look at 2020. Look at this spike up. We're already here, Like we're, so we probably got until 130, 150. Again, if we account for that institutional investors are in the space now, maybe 200K to 250. But again, I don't know if that's the case because for me, yeah, we did get spot ETFs, but I don't know if retail, they're buying the ETFs, but I don't know if everybody that has a 401k, or IRA are transitioning into these spot ETFs, right? Or allocating a piece because that was the whole narrative. The whole narrative was, oh, everybody with a 401k is going to allocate a piece of it, and their advisors, like the 401k advisors, are going to suggest that those people with 401ks allocate a piece to these crypto ETFs. So I think that that hasn't happened yet. So you need to. I think it's going to follow the same cycle. Essentially, I think crypto will follow the same cycle. Already at a $3.6 trillion market cap, right? All right, so let's go into the next coin that I think will do well. I think Sui would do well too. This one's brand new to the market, and it has like this kind of like this price discovery chart, meaning, when I say price discovery, meaning there's no previous resistance, right? The only thing though about Sui, if you look at the market cap and you look at the fully diluted value, it's terrible. The market cap is 4 times that, the fully diluted market value. So for me, this thing max for me like $20. So like a 4x from here. And the fully diluted market value, I don't think all of it's going to be dumped onto the market. Yeah, I think that's over a time period, but still, you still got to consider that the fully diluted market value is not good at all. And you need to pay attention to that when you're looking at a cryptocurrency. That matters. That does matter because people are looking at that. One coin that I saw moving up a lot is Render recently. And the reason why is because I think, look at this, like 4 to 10, I mean, a double. I think, the AI narrative is just getting ready to take off, right? I think, again, like I said, I've been saying, this is going to be the narrative of the cycle, and people, are getting ready for it, right? And that's why you see Render pop up. I haven't heard anything from Render that would make it pop up like that. But again, it's not people actually saying, oh, Render is going to be, the next big Amazon or whatever. It's because whales are pumping it up and they understand that AI is the narrative of the cycle. So, yeah, and it just shows, right? Look at this huge increase in Render. I think Render, if the AI narrative takes off, 50 to 100 billion market cap. So that's like, that's close to, either a 10 to 20x from here, right? Now, maybe Render's more of a 10x from here, and then market caps lower than that are like 20, 40, 50. Again, I never liked the fact that Render is open source, but again, it doesn't matter. It's part of the narrative this cycle. It's going to do well. I think an easy 5 to 10x from here. But again, you got to do your own research, right? And I'm going to do one more. I'll do Near Protocol. Near Protocol is another AI protocol that I think will do well. And yeah, I think this one's like 50 to 100 billion too. So that will put it at around a 5 to 10x from here. It's a little bit more higher market cap than Render. Render was at 5. This is close to 10. So I think this was more like a 5x from here. 35, 60, $50. And again, if the AI narrative takes off the way it's going to take off, I think it would be easy. The reason why I don't go below this, because below this, and I don't share coins below like these 5, 10 million, which I have before actually. Actually, let me share one more. that I actually been doing really well, that I think will do well this cycle. And they've been shilling it a lot, but I just think it's just gonna do well. Aerodrome Finance is gonna do good. A lot of some of the crypto YouTubers been talking about it. But again, I just think the base narrative it's gonna be very popular. The only thing too, the fully diluted value is 3.23, which is not too bad. It's double, but it's not the best, but it's not the worst. But I think this one, with like a Binance listing, which I think is probably going to happen pretty soon. 10 to 20 bucks that area, so 5 to 10x left. Because I remember when like crypto YouTubers were talking about it, they got in like at 10, 20 cents, right? So they're already up like 20x, right? So if it goes up, another 4 or 5x, they're going to be up like 30, 40x, right? So people are going to be dumping at 5 to 10 bucks. I would say even at 5, they'll start dumping. So this one's going to do well, and this is the only one I share, but I think if it goes on Binance, it definitely has a potential to go past 10, right? Now, remember when Uniswap went crazy, it reached like close to a $20 billion market cap. If Aerodrome does that, that would put it around 20 to 25 bucks, which would be like 11 to 12x or something like that. Which I don't know. Maybe it does get close to Uniswap. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it hits somewhere around there. But it definitely has the narrative. It has the backing and things like that. So I think it'll do well. But yeah, so those are the cryptocurrencies. Those are the top prices for the cryptocurrencies. Like I said in the beginning, I think BTC reaches 100 to 130 to 150. That will be the top. And I think this cycle will probably start to fade out in March and April. And maybe we have some after effects up until July. But I think after the midpoint of 2025, that's when we start to see the dip, right? So make sure in this cycle you take profit along the way and you don't just hold the bag, right? If you make good money, if you get a 5 to 10x, make sure you take profit. You don't want to be the one holding the bag. But that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.